All right, thank you, Dr. Wright. All right, last but certainly not least, we are pleased to hear from Chad Linebough, who is the Sundance president and general manager. Chad Linebough began working at Sundance in 1994 after graduating from Utah Valley University in business management and holding various positions in sales and marketing. He was appointed general manager in 2006. For 15 years, he enjoyed working directly with Robert Redford, who wouldn't, whom he considers one of his greatest mentors. During that period, Chad was instrumental in bringing back the Sundance Summer Theater in 2008 in partnership with Utah Valley University. In 2020, Chad successfully transitioned the resort through ownership change. In his personal life, Chad is married to his wife of 26 years, Amber, who grew up in the Sundance community. They have 3 sons and enjoy skiing, hiking, music, and traveling together. Chad currently serves on the Utah County Tourism Tax Board, serves as a board of trustee for the North Fork Special Services District, and is vice chair of the Ski Utah Board of Directors. And for him, Provo stands out as one of the most picturesque cities with the beautiful backdrop of the Wasatch Mountains. We're pleased to hear from Chad Linebough.
Raindrops are falling on my head, and just like the guy whose feet are too big.
Well, good evening, everybody. I love how Provo City let us pick our walk-on music. And I want to comment, raindrops keep falling on my head. Just substitute snowflakes keep falling on my head. And that's been the story of Sundance the last couple of months. I mean, we've had 260 inches of snow so far this year. It certainly is the most snow we've had at this point of the season, so we're grateful. The other reason I chose that song is it's very much a Sundance song. One of the things I loved about working closely with Robert Redford is sometimes hearing the insightful stories that he would share. And I'll never forget, 10, 12 years ago, one day it's fun to get him telling stories, and he said when he was in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and he got to see the final edit, he said his reaction was, well, it's a really great Western, fun, gritty cowboy film. And he said it was great until he realized they dropped kind of a pop, cheesy love song right in the middle of the film. Raindrops keep falling on your head. So he thought that was a mistake, but that song went on to win Best Song, Oscar Award winning, and certainly, is known for that film and has been an iconic song. So I am really excited to share with you guys a little bit about Sundance, and I believe what I'm going to do tonight is share a unique story of Sundance. I've told the history of Sundance thousands of times, but I've never, ever told this part of this story. You are truly, as far as I know, the first to hear this. And I want to first of all say the reason I'm sharing this story is out of gratitude to Mayor Kafusi for inviting me here tonight, because technically Sundance isn't even in Provo, but she's adopted us in, which we're very grateful for. From the moment she took office, she considers Sundance a part of Provo, and we love that. And what she doesn't know, and what I want to share with all of you tonight, is that I think her instincts were right on for this reason, and she doesn't know this, which is Sundance's story, the origin of Sundance, does begin in Provo. Now let me tell you why. And you might be thinking, oh, I know why, because Robert Redford married a woman from Provo. Is that what you were thinking? That is true. Pictured here, Lola Van Wagenen, who just grew up just down the street here. But what you may not know is this part of the story, which is when this young Robert Redford in the early 1960s purchased a building just up the street here that I'll show you a picture of here in a moment. And this photo on the right-hand side shows the poster or the marketing materials for that. On the main floor was called Hoover's. The upstairs was called the Sport Chalet, basically a ski shop. This building is 78 West Center Street, just a couple blocks away. Today it says Big Door at the top. Have you all seen this building? Just right across from New Skin. This is the building that Robert Redford purchased. He owned that as a men's retail store, again, ski shop upstairs. But one of the things he loved about this building and truly shaped the look and the feel of Sundance is if you go to the back of the building, and you can all do it, take a drive over there. Maybe not tonight, wait until you have sunshine tomorrow. But on the back of that building is this rock wall. And does that look familiar to you? You know, if you're familiar with Sundance, and you know in the Tree Room restaurant we have that fireplace, and a lot of the foundation around the resort has that look and feel. The photo on the left-hand side was his cabin that he built at Sundance with that same type of rock wall. The photo on the right shows his wife and some of the early days of Sundance and the inspiration that led to marketing materials. So again, his introduction or his what led him to Sundance was truly owning this shop right down here in downtown Provo. Isn't that interesting? So in 2018, I actually arranged and kind of surprised him and his daughter, who are pictured in this photo here, and we brought him down. He hadn't been to Provo for quite a few years, and he was amazed at how much it had changed. And we took him in this building that he hadn't been in for over 50 years and allowed him to reminisce on the beginnings of his business career here in Utah Valley, and starting in Provo. In fact, in that photo, you can see him, you can see his daughter, Brent and Faye Beck, if any of you know Brent and Faye Beck. In fact, kind of a funny story, Brent was the first general manager of Sundance, and that's because he got to know Brent, because Brent worked at his competitor to this store, which was called Clark's. I think it was around the corner. And some of you are shaking your heads, you remember the store called Clark's. So Robert Redford hired Brent to then be the first general manager of Sundance. So that's a picture of Brent Beck, the first GM, Bob, and then me. And that's the origin. And by the way, that's right there by that wall, which you should all take a look at. That really led to the inspiration, the look and feel of Sundance. So there you have it. That's the origin of Sundance that I don't think people have heard, that it does start right here at Sundance. So the mayor is right. Her instinct was good. We are very much a part of this place, and we're grateful for that. Now, just to tell you quickly, Robert Redford, a few years later at this stage, purchased Sundance as we know it. And I think the biggest story, the biggest success of that is his purpose in purchasing was not to develop a resort, but it was truly to preserve that canyon. And what I'm happy to tell you is that the majority of the land that we call Sundance today is in conservation easements, open space agreements, which means it can never be developed. So it's protected for all of our future generations. Also, I thought you might find it fun just to see some of the early images of Sundance. If you remember some of the old word mark and logo that was there, this sits exactly where the ski shop sits today, but of course a very different look and feel. Now, my introduction to Sundance was around 1994, like was mentioned, and this is a photo of my wife and I, because that's how we met. We didn't take as many photos back then, so it's not a great photo, but it's the only one I have from that time. But I've been there a long time, and one of the things I've really enjoyed is being able to learn from Sundance and certainly from Robert Redford. And I just want to share 3 things that I've taken away from that experience that I think relate to Provo and all the success and the exceptionalism that's happening here. The first one is the power of place. We live in a world where people feel like maybe you don't need to be in touch with people or in person with people, that we can do things digitally or virtually. But there's a certain power of place, right? I mean, I find that people that I meet, mostly in Utah Valley, they have a connection to Sundance. Their first kiss, their first date, they got engaged there, they got married there. Does that apply to any of you? I'm guessing so. I see a lot of hands going up. So there's a special power of place. And Robert Redford would often say, you can't have a good brand without it having a place. And again, Provo is that as well. Now, the second thing I learned is authenticity and how important it is to be authentic. Again, I think Provo represents this, and I also believe Sundance does. A fun story here, I'll never forget, 10 years ago or so, we were having a large destination wedding at Sundance, and I was standing on that deck right there with the wedding planner from New York. And they were planning to build a deck over the waterfall that comes into that beautiful pond there. And this wedding planner said to me, now, Chad, we're going to need you to turn off that water. And I looked at this gentleman, I said, well, that water comes from the stream that comes from the waterfall that comes from the glacier that's on that mountain. But the point is, a lot of people today think everything is fabricated and made, right? This is natural. It's authentic. And there's so much at Sundance and Provo that I think fits in that category. And then lastly, the idea that storytelling is a business strategy, right? We certainly believe that at Sundance, and I think that's been woven through our DNA as a result of Robert Redford and who he is, but also, again, here in Provo. I mean, this is a storytelling community as well. So again, those are the few simple takeaways I wanted to share. We are thrilled to be a part of this. Again, we're honored to be affiliated with Provo City, and again, I just want to thank Mayor Kafusi, the council, and the Provo City staff, and congratulate you on being, in my opinion, the most exceptional city in the country, and we're grateful to be your neighbor. Thank you so much.